Hello people of the YouTube fraternity. Tried last video I uploaded that was just getting one of those, a Poundland Panther soundbar connected to a guitar. I'm going to do that again. Didn't really work out because it sounded pretty bad. So one of the contributory reasons it sounded bad was because didn't have screen lead at the start. Find a way of avoiding using screen lead, and this here is called lap screened, and it is fairly typical of the sort of thing that you would make a guitar lead out of. In fact, it's quite a lot better than most guitar leads are, because I bought this many years ago from an electronic specialist, and when you buy from electronic specialists you usually end up with very, very good quality equipment. So the size of this is 3.84 millimeters. So it consists of, it's called lap screened. It consists of a wire right underneath this plastic. There's a layer of wire, a lap. And below the lap there is the main conductor which transfers the signal through. So lap screens, or screen wire generally, does present a challenge to somebody who isn't experienced in electronics. Now obviously with Bluetooth coming along, people might say, oh, you don't need to use cables to wire up pieces of electronic equipment, everything's Bluetooth and you don't have a cable. But I'm sure that the means of cable connection, guitar and hi-fi, has got a long way to go before it's considered obsolete. So how do we do it without making pig's ear of it? So the way I've always done it is you get a pair of side cutters, which are these, you get the cable, and then you start nibbling around the edge. This is a very useful skill to have. You can make people's hi-fi cables with it, and guitar cables, any other cable that requires audio. So I've just nibbled that round, fitted that and slid it along. Now that you can either keep or throw it away, I don't need it. Now both ends have been done now. I did this other end earlier. Now what's happened is that this is the lap, and it was wrapped round the central conductor. Now the central conductor also needs addressing, so in that case we use a pair of wire strippers, and you have to set it with this. Obviously if you go too far you can end up cutting the wire, so they have to be carefully adjusted. So on this is a low noise cable, so we've got a layer of plastic and another layer underneath before it gets to the copper. So the plastic or whatever it is, nylon, has to come off as well. That's done, and then we twist around like this, and we just twist the shield, which is also ground. And the next task is to fit it onto one of these, which is available from eBay. So we've got negative, positive. The negative one is the shield, because internally the one that's negative connects to the shaft and this screw. Pop the wire in, tighten the screw. I like to fold them over, give a bit more something to grip onto. Tighten the screw. Obviously, if you can't get the wire in, might be because you haven't undone the screw enough. Now, when I showed the last video, I showed one of those Poundland Panther gaming soundbar. Well, turns out that they have one with discrete speakers left and right, but close examination will and I have examined it very closely, has identical volume control. Now, something else about this volume control, it is not just a volume control. It is a lot more than just a volume control. It's actually the amplifier circuit as well. It's a little printed circuit board, and they've used the same one for, as I said, for the soundbar and the Viido or Viido, 2 eyes. So it's a kind of a tear down in a way, but there's not enough going on for it to be a tear down as such. So there we have the little printed circuit board. That's your volume control. And on the other side we have the trying to remember, it's a, just went to grab these, MTX 3007. So we'll pop it back in. So the previous upload was trying to get, if you happen to be someone who's really skint, well, not necessarily really skint, if you happen to be curious about how things are done, you could make your sound bar work through a guitar, but you don't get much volume. So you need a preamp in order to make that happen. So we have same thing, USB power and a 3.5 millimeter, and at the other end we've got this connector available on eBay, which is a 3.5 stereo female jack. I talked about this in my previous movie. So this goes in there, and then we now have a connection between this breadboard and the Viido amplifier system. So on the last attempt at making a 1 transistor preamp to drive the soundbar, £3 from Poundland, and it's a soundbar with Panther written on it, so it's the Panther soundbar. So I'm going to design my own transistor, use 1 transistor preamp, a royalty-free circuit. As I've got the ground in, this is always the ground, I always start with the ground like that, and I draw a transistor, and it's old-fashioned but I like it that way, and this is the emitter which goes to ground. Then we have a 220k resistor, 220k. This is one of my favourites, BC337. Then we have the collector load, just that there, like that. That goes to positive the battery, positive 9 volts, PP3, smoke alarm battery actually. And then we have another, this is the unknown resistor, and we're going to work on that. This is the collect, this is, oh, that's a 2.2k or 2k2 or 2200. Now, don't know what resistor that's going to be, so we're going to try and discover what it is at 9 volts. So like before, I built this previously, but now instead of the 47k resistor, which is far too high a resistance value for the circuit that we're intending to use, this is a 2.2k, like in the that's that one there, 2.2k or 2k2. And we're going to find out what value this one is by connecting up a 3 megohm potentiometer set to maximum. There's no point in going to the trouble of making another one. It was exactly the same last time, only we are using different values for bias. Now there's my multimeter, and it's set to 2 volts DC. And I'm going to connect the connections to the meter. Negative goes to the negative rail or the ground, and then positive goes to the set maximum resistance. Then what I'm going to do is connect the battery .0.471 volts, and we're looking the normal in class A silicon transistor in class A has a voltage between its emitter and base of 0.65 volts. So I'm going to adjust this potentiometer, reduce its value, reduce its ohmage until we get to 0.6, 0.5, 0.6, a little bit more, 0.63, 0.64, 0.65. Too much. That's perfect. 0.65 volts. I'm happy with that. Right, then I disconnect the battery, 9-volt battery, without moving the shaft. Keep the shaft still. We take this potentiometer out of circuit, push that to one side, and then what I do is I measure the DC, the resistance. So it's going to be in the megohm range, so I'm going to use the 2 megohm range there. Connect that to there like this. This is the connection directly to the potentiometer, and we've got 3 point. No, that would be megs, so it would be 0.334 megs. So if I was to connect it to 200k, there's too much. So it's about 300k, 330k, which happens to be a standard value in the E12 range.
Sonic. Sonic. Sonic.
Okay, adding a resistor and two Schottky diodes in an attempt to get some fuzz out of it. Might work, might not. Have to see. BAT Schottky diode. Betty Betamax tunes help you breathe more easily. Suck my lozenge. Suck my lozenge. I bought a vacuum cleaner and it sucks.
Oh, yes.
Suck it. Suck it.
Betty Betamax